You're right. Your clock has stopped. It is the dark hour here on Video Game Movie Anatomy, and we're going to be talking about Persona 3 Movie 1, The Spring of Birth. So why don't you stay with us?
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Video Game Movie Anatomy.
Hello, everybody out there on the internet. Welcome to this week's episode of Video Game Movie Anatomy. I love the soundtrack.
Oh, it's so good. The music is amazing.
This franchise, this movie, it's one of my favorite things that happens when we do the show, is something that pulls you into the world and fulfills its job 100%. Hello, welcome. I'm one of your hosts, and it's Mark B. Donica. You can find me on Twitter at Mark B. Donica. Joined as always by the one, the only Stacey Shuttleworth.
Guys, I'm Stacey Shuttleworth. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Stacey Shuttles or all over the web at Nerds Doing Stuff.
Were you a nerd doing stuff?
I am a nerd doing stuff.
That's right. Our friend Patrick Dees is out on assignment doing something very, very important that we can't exactly talk about right now, or maybe we can, and we just don't know what he's doing. Regardless, you can follow him on Twitter at P to the D's. Now, this movie, Persona 3, or based on the franchise Persona 3, we're doing it because Persona 5 just came out, and you've picked up Persona 5.
I have picked up Persona 5.
And we're going to talk about it a little bit more at the end of the show. But what is your experience with the Persona franchise?
Very, very disengaged up until pretty recently.
Yeah.
I've always known Persona has been a thing, and only very vaguely knew what it was about. I knew it was a very stylish kind of set game, but as far as gameplay or even plot points, I was pretty far removed until the stuff for Persona 5 started coming out.
Yeah. Persona 5 came out last year in Japan, just hit the shores of the United States this week. It was interesting that all of the imagery that I saw, I've had several tours of duty at the store known as GameStop, and one of my coworkers would always be like, have you played the new Persona? Have you played the new Persona? And I was like, no. JRPGs aren't necessarily my thing. They still kind of aren't, but I was always struck by the imagery, the suicidal-esque imagery of high school kids putting guns to their heads to summon monsters.
Real interesting.
Yeah. Real Jungian. I like seeing it in this movie sort of explained, and seeing the symbolism of it was really cool. So we're talking about the first Persona 3 movie, which, let me give you a little breakdown. In the spring, male student Makoto Yuki transfers to Gekkoukan High School. Makoto soon learns of a period of time hidden between the minute of midnight called the Dark Hour, a time when monsters called shadows appear. Suddenly, he is made the leader of his fellow classmates Hikaru and Junpei by his upperclassmen Mitsuru and Akihiko. Makoto must learn empathy, his connection to his comrades, and the meaning of death. For just top skimming the line, I really enjoyed this.
Yes.
This is a lot of fun.
It was. It was well done, and I love the style of it.
The art style,
music, and
the art style has always been striking. There's always something in the eyes that I've found over the years checking out everything from Persona, and so there's something that we do here. There are a couple of things we do here at Video Game Movie Anatomy. Let's have some fun at the movie's expense. We like to do what we call a speed run. That is where we give a quick review of the film, sort of like a box quote you would see on the back of a box. For example, Mortal Kombat has a cheesy script, but nails the spirit of the game. Something quick, to the point. Mine's relatively quick. Mine's quick-ish. It's 2 sentences, but it's, it goes a little bit of a ways. How about you? Quick-ish?
No.
Quick-esque? No? All right.
I tried.
Will it take the entirety of the Dark Hour to do it?
No, it's not that long.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
I've had more epic speed runs.
Okay, so
this is better.
All right, do you want to go first?
I can. If you
Let's hit it up.
All right. Spring of Birth manages to be a new user-friendly entry point to the world of Personas by offering just a sampling of the adventure players encounter in the video game, while maintaining the distinct stylistic tone to create an animated movie that current fans of the series can love.
It's pretty good. It's pretty solid. I agree with that. It's interesting, some of the reviews that I found that tend to disagree with that. But for me personally, if you didn't already know that this was based on a video game property, you wouldn't be able to guess. It's a cool concept with slick animation that sets up a world that you would want to explore either firsthand or as a viewer. It it sold me on the franchise.
Oh yeah, now I want to go back and play Persona 3.
I found in doing research, I did find that they Atlus sent out a couple of surveys about, hey, what about this old Persona stuff? Maybe you might be interested in it. And the rumors are that they're going to be putting out an HD re-release of some Persona stuff in 2017. We do have E3 coming up. It would be the perfect time to announce it. HD remakes are all the rage. I'd say it's the perfect time. Take advantage of that Persona 5 crowd.
Yeah. Yeah, now that it's kind of front and center again, keep it going.
Keep it going. Something else we like to do is something we like to call the controller toss moment. That is where you're watching the film, you see something, and you either silently or loudly have a "you have got to be kidding me," and you toss your controller across the room. It could be something negative. It could be something positive. Now, with high-concept anime movies and JRPGs, the depth of accessibility and weirdness is pretty high. So I don't really have like controller toss moments as much as I have like a come on.
Yeah, there wasn't anything that was like, what?
Why do
or,
you do
like,
this?
Really ridiculous. I did have one that was pretty like,
Did you?
really, buddy?
Go ahead.
So it's when they're on board the train during the midnight hour that is, or the dark hour that is barreling towards another train, and they're about to collide, and they've already beat the shadow on the train. And they're standing there trying to figure out how to stop this train. And they're like, we have less than 5 minutes. It's going to happen any second. And our dear main character, Yuki, just kind of looks and goes, oh, you want to stop the train? Oh, I can do that. And
Now, the thing about our main character, Makoto Yuki, is I think they struck the balance well to make him just a common apathetic anime protagonist, male anime protagonist, and the voiceless video game protagonist. I thought that they split that difference really well.
I did appreciate that. So the type of player that I am would be very frustrated with how he acts. Gotta be a little more engaged.
A little more engaged than that.
Yeah, you know, when I get my choices, they usually tend to be a little more energetic and engaging than the apathetic. But for the purpose of this movie, they did a real good job.
Yeah,
making him what he needed to be.
Taking the choices out, it made sense. But speaking of his apathy, throughout the film, they talk about the apathy syndrome that affects anybody who's come to contact with shadows that may or may not have the ability to summon a persona. And they're talking about this openly in front of Yuki, and then right after he walks away, they're like, what's with that guy? I just don't understand him. It's one of those character things. It's like, how are you this dumb? He's come into contact.
Yeah.
That seemed a little bit too obvious, and they never, like, at least in this movie, they didn't reveal any sort of previous dealings that he had, whether that had anything to do with his parents' car accident or whatever. But it's like, it's staring you in the face. That was the only real toss that I had.
All right, yeah, that was just the little frustrating things.
Yeah, some of the small ones showing the lunar cycle as they were advancing days, like, was a cool idea.
Well, and a super cool nod to the game.
Yeah, but it buried the lead when at the end, who are we talking about? Akihiko, or Sonata, was like, wait a minute, the full moon. And it's like, yeah, we saw that.
They made that abundantly clear.
Yeah, to us. Did you not see that when they were showing the moon change? Like, that was a cool Easter egg as viewers, but it buried the lead for that. So it wasn't anything super bad. And I kind of got tired, and I can only imagine what it's like in the game. Every time the dark hour hit and they showed the clock exploding like a PowerPoint transition.
It was really cool at first.
Yeah, I was like, oh, there's something different happening. It's like, we get it. We know what time it is.
Yeah, you kind of adjust to that pretty fast.
Yeah, so I can only imagine what it's like in the game. Did you have any others?
That was the main one. There was kind of a cool, like, oh, neat when you find out that he could have two personas.
Or multiple personas.
Yeah, multiple personas.
Yeah.
So when they introduced the second one, it was like, oh, because I didn't know that was a thing.
And that adds to the protagonist-ness of him, to where it's like, oh, well, of course you're going to have more than one.
Makes sense.
Let's talk a little bit about this cast. I made notes, like, in terms of the main 7 characters, they have huge roles or important roles in anime as seiyuu for I mean there's a lot of Naruto. There's a lot of Naruto.
I noticed that.
Like our lead, Yuki Makoto, played by Ishida Akira, plays Gaara, which is huge. And for fans of the Kingdom Hearts franchise, Zexion, or Zexion, however you pronounced it, because I never could. And then Akihiko Sanada, our boxing enthusiast. There's always one like gray-haired dude that's into close quarters combat. Also the voice of Tien Shinhan from Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and Marth from the Fire Emblem series. Yep. I liked his performance. Nakai Kazuya, who's the really badass dude that kind of looks like the old guy from Pokemon X and Y that was like survived hundreds of years.
He sure does.
He voices two of the greatest characters in anime history, and that may just be my opinion, but Zoro from One Piece and Mugen from Samurai Champloo. One of the most iconic voices in anime today.
Yeah, he also he's the voice of Bon in Blue Exorcist.
Really? That's there's too many series that I need to watch, and you've been telling me about that one extensively. Then we had the actress who played Fuka Yamagishi, Mamiko Noto, who plays Rin in Inuyasha, and the only other like major franchise that I could find was from Naruto, plays Katsuyu, which is Tsunade's slug, which is a pretty iconic role when you think, oh, her slug. It's like, oh, actually, no, she's in a lot of the episodes. Rie Tanaka plays the club president Mitsuru Kirijo, who is the voice of Chi from Chobits, and Morrigan from the Darkstalkers franchise. And ever since they've added a voice for her in like Marvel vs. Capcom or Project X Zone, stuff like that. Then our cool guy McFstick, as I nicknamed him, Junpei Iori, voiced by Toriumi Kosuke, played Inuzuka Kiba from Naruto, which is one of my favorite characters, and Charlie Nash from the newest Street Fighter V. And then the last person on our list is Togayuchi Megumi, who played Yukari Takeba, who voiced Junko Enoshima from Danganronpa, which is another big role, a big role and a big series, huge franchise, and Aqua from Kingdom Hearts. I love her Japanese voice.
Yeah, but she's got a cool. It's such a disparity, though.
Junko's a psychopath. But I this cast I think worked really well together. The fact that they brought back everybody from the original game.
That's always a nice thing.
Yeah, and to think of how their careers evolved from the mid 2000s to being a part of all of these, or already being a part of notable franchises, to getting even more notable and coming back. I forgot the character's name, but the guy who ran the elevator or the Velvet Room, Igor. Yes, the Igor. That actor had passed away. Yes, but they got all of the recorded dialogue from the game and added it in just so that it had that extra flair of originality. Here's this cast back, and it's a wonderful tribute, I think. Even not having that big of a background with the game, it's a nice gesture. Yeah. So one of the things that I liked a lot about this movie is it felt very gamey.
It really did. The way it was set up was absolutely, a lot of point A to point B, very similar to how the game works. Doing
recon, especially the last fight. It was, oh, their weakness is this element. Oh, their weakness is this element. Oh, their weakness is this element. They keep changing their weakness. Way too gamey, but acceptable.
But it worked in this context.
Yeah.
I'll give it a pass for this because I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it a lot too. Yuki it didn't seem very human. Like, I figure fans of the franchise know where this character ends up, and we're still, learning in the film aspect, but it was kind of hard to relate to him.
It was very hard to relate to him. Like I said, I was frustrated with him often.
With his choices?
Yeah, just because it's not the choices I would have made. So, in that regard, it was nice watching it as a movie, but it also kind of highlights why you would want to play it as a game.
But I think that adds to the selling point, which is like, I would make much better decisions.
100%.
Much better choices. But he served the protagonist's purpose by being the person that everybody explains stuff to. Though it's kind of weird, somebody hands you something that resembles a gun, and the amount of people that went, I'm going to put this to my head and point the trigger.
without being prompted.
No context, no nothing. Is this an actual... Except for the one person that was like, here, hold on to this. This is a good luck charm. It's not even... There's not even a real gun, whatever. But seeing the other people do that made sense. It was like, oh, let me see if I can help by trying it out. And I'll put the gun to my head and shoot. But aside from that, it was all just a lot of, you know what? I do want to die. Let's see how much I can help.
Yeah, it introduced a very interesting aspect, probably to the psyche going on there.
Yeah, how messed up is Yuki Makoto? That's what I would like to know, and I hope we get to know a little bit more.
Agreed.
And the fun thing that I found out is that Ishida Akira plays the little boy as well, and he said he had a lot of fun playing against himself. So moving forward, because I do want to do more movies in this franchise.
We started now. We watched the intro. Now we got to finish it out.
You got to finish it. I think there's 4 Persona 3 movies, and then there's Persona 4 the animation, which is the series.
Which came before this.
But then they took like 3 episodes of the animation and turned that into a movie. But I wanted to go all the way back. Right. This is the opposite of Resident Evil for us, because Resident Evil is like, they made so many. I don't want to do
another one.
Like you tweeted me over the weekend of the new one being in theaters, and I was like,
we get to go see it in a theater.
We're on a break, man. We're on a break. Let's take a Resident Evil break. It said it was the final chapter. Let's take a break. Maybe October, when we get a little bit closer to Halloween, we'll just do a block and just knock out the rest of the live action ones as well, and maybe throw an animated one in there as well. But yeah,
some determination.
This is the opposite. I fell in love with this franchise, and not just because I'm going through another one of my anime phases, as it were.
Anime phases are great. Don't diss the anime phases.
No, I don't want it to be a phase anymore. I just want it like it. It's been getting more regular where I watched, good series here and there. I finally just watched One Punch Man for the first time.
I've still got to watch that.
Oh, it's so good.
I know. I've heard that.
It's so hard to stop watching One Punch Man.
See, that's gonna be the problem. I'm just gonna marathon it.
It's 12 episodes, super easy.
Oh, I will.
So that's why with then it's balancing. Like, I want to play Persona 3, but maybe it's easier if I just watch the Persona 3 movies. But now, since we're doing it for the show, do I wait until we do it again? Or do I watch the second, third, fourth movie and then Persona 4 the friend? Or do I watch we almost did the Persona 5, but it was just one, single episode. It was episode 0, it was 24 minutes. But why not?
Pretty
movies.
good, by the way.
This is, say again?
It's pretty good, by the way.
Damn it. But this is a movie network, damn it. And we're not the Mighty Otaku, but hey, stay tuned. We might be like the Mighty Otaku.
Spoilers.
I liked the variety of the personas, and the implication of knowing what some of these characters represent, like Ares and Orpheus, and what they represent. Like, we didn't get the name of the Reaper at the beginning, but the fact that was his first one at full power. Let's get this terrifying angel of death flanked by coffins.
Sure, yeah.
Terrifying. Terrifying. Can only imagine the type of stuff that he is into. But another one of my favorite things about this movie is how dorky the production team was. In the lead up to the movie, all announcements related to the announcement of the movie versus the soundtrack, the cast, the release schedule, the fact that there was going to be more than one movie was all done during the full moon.
Which is wonderful.
Dorks!
That made me so happy.
There was a Twitter account that only updated on nights of the full moon. Websites would only update. Promotional announcements, all sorts of stuff was only done at appropriate times in universe.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, if you're going to do it, you go all out like that.
Mm-hmm.
That just makes the whole franchise more endearing.
Yeah. So who's your favorite character out of the movie?
I like Akihiko.
Yeah. Sonata was really cool. I mean, it's
interesting.
I really hope that we get more Aragaki Shinjiro, personally. Just one of the most iconic voices, and Zoro's one of my favorite characters, and he's just if there was a picture definition of cool, he would be the guy.
That'd be him.
And we don't know next to nothing about him. I really liked Fuka. She was really cute, and you couldn't help but feel bad for her for everything.
I know. I would like to see, kind of watch as she steps up to the plate and kind of gets a little more confident in herself. Because I think because she's just such that sweet, like, nice character.
I want to be your friend.
Right?
Yeah.
I know.
Hey.
All these girls that don't want to be her friend. Hi.
The biggest bitch.
Awful.
It's kind of a. I understand that the school fun of it, of like, oh, we're gonna lock this girl in the closet overnight. Like, that's something that you hear about, like, basic, those darn kids sort of a thing. But then once she disappeared, and then once the two girls went to cover their tracks and they disappeared, and I forget who the main quote best friend was, but the fact that she was like, she just doesn't get it. She's so stupid, and she couldn't accept her guilt. Oh. It was sad, but it was also, no, dude, you suck. You're awful. You're a terrible human being.
Yeah.
High school kids are just the worst.
Oh, awful.
Yeah. I like how well-rounded the cast was. We had our character types. We had Iori, who was just the coolest guy, especially if you ask him.
Oh, yeah. Well, mostly only if you ask him.
Takeba helped sell the danger of everything. It's like, we are going to die. Do you want to die? Maybe.
Yeah, she had that, like, that grounded aspect that it felt like everyone else needed sometimes.
Yeah. But it also her inability to make decisions at the top led to Yuki becoming a part of the team, as well as finding out about his personas. But ultimately, it reminds me of I forgot his name, Hans from the first episode of Attack on Titan. Oh, okay. When he's like, I'm going to save all three of you. And then he looks up at the Titan and he goes, no, I'm not. Like you didn't have the strength, I didn't have the courage. It was something where you could totally understand that here's this hell beast that is just hands and a mask, arms and a mask. Who wouldn't freeze up in that situation?
Yeah, you don't necessarily want to go up against that.
No, and I don't hold it against her whatsoever.
No.
The action was super cool. The monsters were super stylized. I found it a little weird that the shadow in the train was like this curvy woman, and she had B and J on her breasts. That was weird.
That was weird.
Very Japanese. And she was an ice queen. Someone's got some repressed business there to take care of. Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
I love this cast. Though we didn't learn much about Kirijo Mitsuru, except the fact that she's just the president of this SEES. I would like to see more of her. We don't necessarily know exactly what her persona does, other than just recon. Like, I get I can be in your mind and talk to you. What was your favorite persona? Or just monster in general? So shadow or persona?
I thought Orpheus's design was really cool. I think it was my favorite. I would like to learn more about, I don't know if she ever had a name, but Fuka's persona.
Yeah.
Kind of what, because she hung around for a long time after they were done. I don't know, I'm just kind of curious how exactly that works.
I figure we'll see more in the sequel.
So, like, if it's only her, how far she can extend it.
And what other sort of defensive capabilities it has, like if it can bring other people in there, but I like that idea of how it reflects on the person's psyche and the type of people that they are, that results in the type of character. Yeah. It made sense for Junpei to have this fast-moving, fast acting,
right? Just
on a whim, the winged shoes that turn into swords or blades rather. I liked his a lot, but I say Orpheus too. Reminded me of Demix from Kingdom Hearts, who just has a giant lute, like a giant musical instrument to hit people with. Without, like, why not play a spell, or maybe that's getting a little too. Yeah, just
hit people with it.
Solid El Kabong.
Yes.
El Kabong. No. Take care of him. The monster designs were super cool. The music. Oh, the soundtrack.
Oh, the music. The music's great.
Like the best way to describe all of this is just cool.
It is very cool.
It's the
so
coolest
stylish.
Looking kids, the coolest looking monsters, the coolest sounding music. Like the fact that they go to a cool kid spot and wreck shop. This is just the epitome of cool.
Yes.
And the fact that it's a PS2 game and we're late to or at least I'm late to the party on it. I was trying to rent Persona 5 over the weekend, but who knew that Redbox wouldn't carry a game like that? They got stuff with guns in it, just not Persona 5. Really weird.
Really interesting.
Who knew? Oh, that's the stupid Americans. Anyway. Something else that I found interesting about the release of this, males were outnumbered by females at a ratio of 2 to 3 when it came to opening attendance for this. It suggested that the original game itself was mostly popular amongst women, which, as far as I know, I rarely hear dudes being like, yo, Persona! Or at least when it was first coming out.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. I think it is a much more female-driven audience or player pool. So.
And actually, the amount of people personally that I know that have been tweeting about Persona and Persona 5 is literally 2 to 3. Like three female friends and 2 male friends that are tweeting about, oh, hey, Persona 5, literally 2 to 3. I found that interesting.
Yeah, I feel like that's about the ratio that I've seen too. I've seen a lot of people talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the... It's kind of built this... It's built this sort of reputation of, oh, it's a Persona game. And you kind of gotta treat it with some sort of reverence, even though you don't know. It's become one of those staples in gaming where you go, oh, Persona, yeah, I know Persona. It's that game where kids shoot themselves in the head and summon monsters. Why not? But I wonder how long it takes until, I think Persona 5 now being the new hotness, and we're in a little bit of a break before E3, I think people are going to take a lot of chances on this.
Fully.
So you picked up Persona 5.
I did pick up Persona 5.
How far into it are you, and what do you think of it?
I'm about 4 hours in. In this, so Persona 5 works a little differently, as far as I can tell, than Persona 3 did, at least. I can't speak for Persona 4, but the game mechanics are a little bit different, and the darkness hour isn't a thing.
Okay.
It's there are palaces.
Okay.
So it's really interesting, and I've only made it into the first palace.
Okay, do you think you're still in like the tutorial?
I feel like it must be. I mean, at least and maybe my expectations were kind of skewed going into it, but you're introduced to what seems like a pretty open world that's dictated largely by your choices, and like it seems like I'm supposed to have a lot of responsibilities as the player, but I haven't been given any of those yet. So it seems like I should have a bigger freedom of choice, and instead I'm still mostly being told where to go, when to go. And if I try to go against that, they tell me, no, you can't do that.
Interesting. Hopefully that gets free. Like, I don't understand why they would show you that big open world and restrict that much.
Like, it's really interesting. The first day you have to go to the school, you're responsible for taking the trains, getting off on the transfer, and getting on your next train. And then that hasn't popped up back again. Now it's just auto there.
Interesting.
And you don't really get to explore any of these places you're introduced to. However, fighting mechanics are really cool. It's turn-based, which is not usually my thing.
Okay.
But it works in this case.
All right.
I don't know. Very guided.
Very guided.
Very guided.
Hopefully it frees up. If anybody out there is playing Persona 5, please leave your comments, your miniature reviews down in the comments, and we'll check them out. I'm still interested in it. I'm a little bit more interested in hoping for an HD remake of Persona 3, but turn-based, sometimes one may think that we've evolved out of turn-based, but if the right game comes along and uses it in a proper way, maybe we're into it. I'm interested to try it. Let's talk about a little bit of the critical when it came to this. It opened up November 23rd, 2013 in Japan, and it made 201,886,754 yen, which is equivalent to about $2 million, which is pretty solid. It was in the it was like 113 or 118 in the year in the box office in Japan, and IMDb currently has it at a 7.2 out of 10. Kotaku rated the movie like this from critic Richard Eisenbeis. This is a movie that doesn't quite stand on its own, as very little is wrapped up, and it feels like the main plot never really gets started. If you're a fan of Persona 3, you'll no doubt have a great time. However, if you have not played the game, it is unlikely that after watching the film, you will be able to understand what the fuss is about. Totally disagree.
See, I agree with the first part, and I do not agree with the second part, because it's the first movie. You were told very clearly going into it that this is the first movie. So you kind of expect that it's going to be more of an introduction. At least I did.
No, I think so as well.
So I'm okay with the fact that they didn't have the big final boss in this movie. It is a weird line to walk because you don't meet most of the antagonists. I think you don't even meet some of the other main characters, or at least properly.
There's still room. There's still plenty of room. They're still filling out the dorm. I mean, Fuka, we found out at the very end, is moving into the dorm. So they're still trying to assemble a team. It seems like there's a much bigger story at play.
Right.
It's definitely the equivalent of the tutorial, but the world is just so cool.
Yeah, I don't think, I think I understand what all the fuss is about. And I think people could easily understand what all the fuss is about, even without having very much idea what Persona is.
Yeah, and as I mentioned in my speedrun, it presented a world and created a world that you can kind of relate to when it comes to like other anime. Like it reminds me a little bit of like Shaman King, where everybody has a spirit that they summon, but it's a little bit different. Like you can find other pieces of anime that you like in here,
right?
But it's just so cool. There's no better way to describe it.
It is. It's cool and it's unique in its coolness.
And Yuki's a jerk. So the other review that I found was from Japanator.com from Elliot Gay. He says, Spring of Birth struggles with the source material at times, but on the whole, it delivers a nostalgic trip down memory lane for longtime fans and an accessible entry point on folks curious about the franchise. Now, I can't really speak about the first part of it, but definitely agree about the second part.
Yes.
Yeah. So now let's go into what we like to do, our favorite lines. It's a little bit more challenging with the Japanese movies, but there are a couple that I couldn't not write down. Do you have a couple?
I have two that I wrote down. Do you want me to start?
I would love for you to start.
So there's one, it's, Yuki being Yuki.
Yep.
This is one of the times we actually get to see his personality a little bit, which was kind of fun. So this is when they are going to the party spot. And so they're there and they're being confronted with these kids that they have deemed punks.
Yeah.
And he just looks at him and goes, "That's impressive. You changed your nose. You chained your nose to your face so you wouldn't lose it."
It's a pretty badass line. And it's the fact that he got the entire rest of the crowd going like, "Oh, it's a total burn, idiot." That was a solid line.
Good job, kid.
I'm gonna kick ass. No, that's fine.
All right.
One of mine, or both of mine, are our good friend Junpei Iori's. The first one is when they're on the train, and it stops, and he's kind of making fun of Yuki a little bit, and he goes, I fight so I won't regret." Does that sound like a line from a game protagonist or what? And I was like,
It sure does.
It does.
I wonder why.
He's totally a dude. And if any other character had said that, I would have been like, ugh. Cheesy. But our boy Junpei's a cool guy McF stick.
He can have that one.
Yeah, cool guy McF stick over here. He can have that line. That works for him. What's your other one?
So this was kind of a reoccurring thing throughout the movie, and it was whenever our cool guy would get up in Yuki's face, and it doesn't matter what you say, you could just kind of let him go, "Personal space."
Yeah.
And this
personal space. What
are
you even saying?
Personal space. Doesn't care what he's saying. Just personal space.
Get out.
Step out of my bubble.
Yeah, and it's very, very realistic. Just
Yes.
like, please step away from me.
You are too close.
And though that could be a little bit gamey in terms of like you can't get like right up to people. They can only get like a certain length from you at all times. That was fun. At the end of the movie, when they're watching Takeba and Yuki and Iori are all watching Fuka and her friends sort of starting to make up. It's like, why do you think she came back? Or why do you think she wandered into Tartarus in the first place? He's like, isn't it obvious? She came to save her friend. To which Yuki gives like a little smirk. And I went, and I paused the movie and went, did he just smile? That's awesome. Did he just smile?
Oh.
To which Iori follows up with, hey, wait a minute. Makoto, was that a smile?
What?
Was that a smile? No. Let's talk about that.
Hold on.
Let's talk about your feelings. And they start walking away, and it's like, that's a great way to end the movie. To go away going, you know what? Maybe he's starting to understand friendship and why people live for each other.
It was a very hopeful note, which was nice.
And it made me hopeful to see this character grow and change.
Yeah, he'll have a personality.
Hey, well, here's
okay.
hoping. Here's hoping he'll have a personality.
I know. Sometimes it's,
It's a little more difficult.
But
it's a little more difficult to have a personality or not. So I traditionally, when it comes to movies that we like, we usually have very little to complain about because it was so cool. Especially this one is so. I'm excited to watch more in this franchise, depending on how many films come out in the summer and getting a chance to pick up Persona if I want to stay in this world or not. If you want to stay in this world or not. Now it's going to be a tough barrier of entry for Patrick because he'll have to watch the first one and the second one, or he may just sub out for any time we do Persona movies, and we'll get a third chair in here and to talk about it because Patrick missing it was kind of a last minute thing. But why don't we do final thoughts about Persona 3 Movie 1, The Spring of Birth?
I mean, I really liked it. Again, the stylistic tone was great. It's definitely something I enjoy watching. The music was amazing. And while I appreciate that they skipped over some of the days where things didn't happen, as we saw with our calendar, whenever that happens in a movie, it does kind of make me feel like, well, but things are happening. They're getting to know each other better and stuff, right? And so we could have missed a couple of developmental bonding moments there.
Yeah, a little bit more slice of life stuff.
But I do think they did a good job through the combat and through the action, pushing the bonding a little bit too. And
they adjusted the pace, with the ability to move forward a couple days and just filling in, oh, hey, here's what you missed.
Right.
It kept the flow going, and it wasn't necessarily because we know what we missed, and they didn't leave us up and like, what happened? They were like, man, it's been a rough couple days because this happened. Oh, okay. Moving on.
You caught up and it was all right. So they handled it well.
And it's not like,
so it wasn't as irritating as I thought.
And they didn't skip fun parts for talking parts. It was just, oh, hey, we skipped talking parts for fun parts. Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with it too. Just unremarkably cool. So cool. I'm so excited to venture back into this world. We kind of know the answer already, but the last thing we do is we give this a verdict of either an extra life or a game over. Stacey, what do you give the Persona 3 movie franchise despite knowing that there are 3 more films?
I mean, it's an easy extra life.
Totally, 100%. I agree. I also say extra life. Let us know what you think about this film and what you would give it down below. Before we go, I want to let you know what we're going to be doing in 2 weeks' time. We are going to be we're staying in the anime realm, and we're going to be covering Pokemon the Movie 3, Entei, Spell of the Unknown. I like this one actually. Or actually, I've seen it more recently, and it's really cute because they made Entei a good character. But we're going to talk about more in depth then. We may or may not have a special guest as a member of the Popcorn Talk family joining us. But until then, Stacey, where can the folks find you? What are you working on?
You know what? Right now I'm playing video games. April's a busy month, so I'm going to be trying to get back into the cosplay stuff as we get back into San Diego Comic-Con coming up. But other than that, I'll be on Twitter and Instagram at Stacey Shuttles or on Twitter at Nerds Doing Stuff.
Were you in Nerd Doing Stuff?
Where I'm in Nerd Doing Stuff.
Also, you're gonna be it's fair season here in Southern California.
It is fair season. That is the Southern California Renaissance Pleasure Fair.
Yeah, and I'm really jealous that you're gonna be spending a whole bunch of time there, and I can only go once.
Lace up my corset and go prance around fair.
Let's
it's a good
have
time.
some drinks. And if you like this episode, if you like hearing people talk about anime, let me give you a couple of other places to go. We have another show here on the Popcorn Talk Network called The Mighty Otaku, where they talk about common anime threads, trends, movies, TV, it's a great show with a great group of people. They do have some guests now and again. I highly recommend you check out the Mighty Otaku. Also, we just starting tonight, we are doing Attack on Titan Season 2 on our sister network, AfterBuzz TV. So make sure to head over there tonight, talk about the first 2 episodes of Season 2 of Attack on Titan. Get your Jaeger on. And then, or your Eren Yeager on, excuse me. Let me be a little more specific. And then also, just because it's kind of fringe and awesome to talk about, we also have a Samurai Jack after show on AfterBuzz TV. So if you're watching that and you don't feel sad about yourself because you're watching Samurai Jack and it's a lot sadder than you remember, why don't you head on over to our Samurai Jack after show? We got a whole bunch of great stuff on AfterBuzz TV, and you can follow me on Twitter at MarkBDonica. I'm excited about what we're going to be doing in 2 weeks' time, what we're going to be doing after that. We got some real fun stuff happening, so make sure you stay tuned here to Popcorn Talk. Follow us at The Popcorn Talk on Twitter, like us on iTunes, favorite us on YouTube, leave us comments down below, leave us iTunes reviews, and we'll see you in the dark hour.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.